Coming up on today's show, the Lucid Air officially becomes the longest-legged production electric car as EPA ratings place the Lucid Air above 500 miles, 805 kilometers per charge. R1Ts roll off the line as Rivian gets ready for deliveries, and Ford again ups its production goals for the F150 Lighting as pre-production gets underway at its Rouge production facility. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. I'm back in the studio after a truly bizarre week that saw me rescued off a Colorado mountain while on a press launch because I got severe altitude sickness. While I am under embargo and I can't talk about what I was driving for another 10 days or so, I just want to say thank you to the skilled team that got me back to normal altitude safely and quickly. Getting blue lips and losing some of my cognitive function wasn't fun. I literally owe you my life. This show is sponsored by the Electric Auto Association. Stick around until the end of the show to find out how joining the EAA can help you finance your own clean energy or transportation purchase. We start today with the news that the Lucid Air is now officially the longest-legged electric car that you can buy, after the EPA officially rated the same this week. When kitted out with 19-inch wheels, the 606-kilowatt all-wheel drive Lucid Air Dream Edition range hits 520 miles, 837 kilometers per charge, while the 828 kilowatt Lucid Air Dream Edition Performance with those same wheels comes in a little short of the 500 mile mark with an official 471 mile, 758 kilometer range. Meanwhile, the Lucid Air Grand Touring, with its 597 kilowatt drivetrain, manages 516 miles, 830 kilometers on the more efficient 19-inch wheels. All models are available with 21-inch wheels, but the range is quite significantly impacted. Following positive feedback from its V10 FSD Beta testers, but after a study from MIT suggests that using Tesla Autopilot makes drivers less attentive, Tesla has announced it's going to launch FSD Public Beta imminently. However, rather than just allow customers who've paid for FSD to opt directly into the beta program, Tesla wants customers to first prove that they are good drivers before giving them access to the feature. When you click the beta download button as an FSD customer, you'll give Tesla permission to examine your driving data for a full week to make sure that you are a good, safe driver. And if you are, you'll be granted access to the FSD public beta. If not, then you won't. Honestly, I think this is an extremely prudent thing to do, and I cannot praise Tesla enough for putting this stipulation into effect. This isn't the test that I and others were calling on Tesla to implement before allowing customers to use FSD, but you know what? It's pretty darned close. Good job, Tesla. It's official. The week after we learned that the Rivian R1T had received its official EPA ratings, 314 miles or 505 kilometers if you'd forgotten, the very first production R1Ts have rolled off the production line in Normal, Illinois. The first production truck, driven off the line by Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe, came just a day after fans of the truck began reporting the appearance of Rivian-branded charging stations at trailheads in Moab, Utah. Rivian, joined by Motor Trend, completed the first off-road coast-to-coast electric vehicle trip earlier this month, and just as we were readying for the script for today's show, the company has announced its new Rivian membership subscription program designed to give customers unlimited 4G LTE connectivity and free charging, as well as much more. I can't wait to see other outlets get behind the wheel of this important truck, and something tells me it won't be too long until that happens. Volkswagen's North American all-wheel drive variant of the ID.4 has officially received its EPA range ratings. With a more powerful drivetrain than the rear-wheel drive ID.4 Pro, the ID.4 all-wheel drive Pro manages 250 miles, 402 kilometers per charge from its 82 kilowatt-hour nominal battery pack and 220 kilowatts drivetrain. Like the rear-wheel drive variant, the ID.4 All-Wheel Drive Pro can charge at a maximum of 125 kilowatts from a compatible DC quick charging station. It starts from $43,675 in the US before incentives. A higher trim variant, the ID.4 All-Wheel Drive Pro S, starts from $48,175. Keep your eyes peeled for a first drive report of the ID.4 All-Wheel Drive Pro from our very own Winter Tashlin very soon. The Hyundai IONIQ 5 EV, a car that has been highly anticipated thanks to the impressive eGMP platform on which it is based, may now be starting deliveries in Europe, but it's just officially been delayed in the USA. Previously, the company's US website said that deliveries would start in fall 2021, but eagle-eyed fans have noted that that has now been changed to winter 2021. It could mean the very end of the year before we see them rolling off dealer lots. To be honest, though, this isn't a surprise. The IONIQ 5 hasn't yet received its official North American pricing, as far as we can tell, and while Europe has some pretty big zero-emission vehicle sales targets that automakers must meet or face fines, there's far less pressure in the US for automakers to do the same thing there. When we have more info on official delivery dates, we will share. Earlier this year, we covered the new EV tax being signed into law in the Australian state of Victoria, and now it's being challenged in the courts by two EV owners. The law requires all EV owners to keep accurate records of each and every trip they make, and then taxes them between 2 and 2.5 cents per kilometre travelled. Owners who refuse to submit annual odometer readings face tough consequences, but Chris Vanderstock and Kathleen Davis are taking the matter to the country's High Court, arguing that the state does not have power to impose the taxes on EV drivers, and thus the law is unconstitutional. Moreover, they point out the tax makes EV ownership less appealing and could delay the transition to cleaner vehicles. The duo have a fundraising page for those who want to support their legal effort, and we'll link to it below. Indian scooter company Ola unveiled its Ola S1 and S1 Pro electric scooters earlier this year, and ahead of that launch, the company experienced huge pre-order reservations. Now the company says it's selling 4 scooters every single second, with a total of 1 lakh Ola scooters orders confirmed on the first day. That's 100,000 for those who aren't familiar with the Indian numbering system. Eligible for Indian governmental incentives, the S1 and S1 Pro will come with a portable 750-watt charger that can charge the S1 from a wall outlet in 4 hours and 48 minutes and the S1 Pro in 6.5 hours. In addition to the portable charger, Ola is going to deploy rapid charging stations throughout India that will be capable of adding 75 kilometres 47 miles of range in 15 minutes. I would love to know in the comments if you're someone who's just ordered one. As Ford begins producing pre-production validation models of the F-150 Lighting pickup truck on its revamped Rouge production line in Michigan, now called the Ford Rouge Electric Vehicle Center, the automaker has announced a change to its planned production volumes for the same. Ford says that there are more than 150,000 pre-reservations for its all-electric F-150 now, and to keep up with demand, it says it will invest an additional $250 million to ramp up production to 80,000 F-150 Lightnings a year. This will result in an additional 450 new jobs at the facility and will hopefully ensure that most people get hold of the F-150 Lightning sooner. Ford says it's on track to begin sales of the F-150 Lightning early next year. As the issue of LG Energy's explosive batteries continue to cast a shadow over the EV world, Volkswagen has opened a brand new research and development centre in Sattzgiter, where it hopes it will work on its own battery tech. The facility, first promised earlier this year, will be where Volkswagen will further refine its unified cell design, prepare it for production, and work on next-generation technologies like solid state. Ultimately, Volkswagen will transition its battery cell production to in-house, which will help it avoid some of the challenges associated with relying on third-party suppliers, like rising prices and unpredictable supply chains. Volkswagen has spent around €70 million in the new centre thus far, and it says it hopes to employ more than 250 specialists there. And now, it's time for Short Shorts. General Motors has yet again extended its halt on Bolt EV and Bolt EUV production in light of ongoing Bolt EV fires, this time to mid-October. It says it's known of 12 fires and 3 injuries connected with the faulty cells thus far, and also now recommends Bolt owners park 50 feet from other cars, rendering the car useless to many. Sir Clive Sinclair, the inventor and entrepreneur responsible for the ZX Spectrum home computer and the C5 three-wheel human-electric hybrid, has died at the age of 81. The Sinclair C5 was a commercial flop, but gained cult status. Indian company Tata Motors has launched its first electric sedan, the Express T EV. Designed exclusively for fleet customers, it offers between 165 and 213 kilometers of range per charge. The US E-Bike Act, introduced to Congress earlier this year, has now been making its way through the House Ways and Means Committee, but has been revised significantly, with the tax credit dropped from 30% to 15% for eligible e-bike purchases. Volkswagen has officially begun over-the-air updates for all of its ID electric cars. While the company had been testing OTA updates with a select group of customers thus far, now every Volkswagen ID model will receive OTA updates, just like a Tesla. The Indian state of Maharashtra, the third largest by area, has now officially begun offering EV incentives to its citizens. The subsidies will be available for both cars and two-wheelers, making electric vehicles more affordable for more people. The solar-powered e-bike project, SunPedal Ride, has made it to Chicago on its epic coast-to-coast ride. Shushil Reddy and Louis Forzan are crossing the US on specially modified solar-charged electric bicycles to raise awareness of both solar energy generation and e-bikes. Following concerns over electric scooter use in Vermont, the state legislature has decided to permit a pilot program to allow gotcha scooters the chance to pilot last-mile scooter use. A previous program with bird scooters ended prematurely. A new global program called Climate Trace has launched. Its goal to trace and account for global greenhouse gas through direct, independent observations. It aims to help target heavy emitters to prioritize decarbonisation. US rail freight manufacturer Wabtec Corporation has unveiled what it's calling the world's first battery electric freight train. Called the FLX Drive battery locomotive, it's no longer a prototype and it's capable of hauling up to just under £500,000 in weight. Volta Trucks has announced the successful closure of its B-Series funding round, raising an additional €37 million. Its funding round is led by Luxor Capital Group LP. The company says it has 2,500 orders already on the books for its Volta Zero truck. Tesla published a video this week showcasing the technology behind the glass its electric cars use. Stating that Tesla Glass is its secret to a quiet cabin, this video is the closest thing I've seen to an advert from Tesla in a long time. European electric car startup Lightyear has raised an additional $110 million to help it bring its Lightyear 1 electric car to market. The company says it will begin deliveries next year, but as for any startup, I think that date will probably slip. Scooter battery swap specialist Gogoro, whose user base now represents more than 800,000 scooter battery packs, has entered in its intent to go public via a reverse merger with a SPAC called Poema Global Holdings Corporation. The Workhorse Group, currently being investigated by the US SEC, has voluntarily withdrawn its legal challenge against the USPS for choosing a rival company as vendor for the next generation of mail trucks. It says it has other priorities. So far, Canadian Tesla customers have not been able to help test Tesla's Level 2 full self-driving system under the Full Self-Driving Beta test program. But this week, that's changed, with Canadians now eligible to sign up for the program. Emails sent out by Sondors suggest that its Metacycle electric motorcycle is now running behind production schedule, with the first deliveries now scheduled for Q4 this year. Initially, that's what the company had originally planned, but it actually pushed its production dates forward earlier this year. JB Straubel, former CTO at Tesla and founder of Redwood Materials, has announced Redwood Materials will build a brand new battery material factory in the US. It will not only recycle used battery packs, but also produce copper foil and cathode active materials for use in lithium-ion battery production. US charging network EVgo has just launched a new rewards program designed to let customers earn free charging sessions. You get 5 points per dollar spent charging, and 2,000 points equal a free $10 charging credit. Foxconn, the company that's famous for making Apple products for many years, and the company that promised to build a massive digital display factory in Wisconsin, has cut ties with Byton over plans to help it build the Byton M-Byte. Bye-bye, Byton? Several Lordstown Motor Endurance pickups were spotted this week on the back of a transporter. But while the Lordstown fans say series production starts this month, the models spotted were pre-production beta prototypes without final DOT-approved lights. Sono Motors has announced a new V2G pilot program in the city of Utrecht that will see 100 Xeon solar EVs join the city's roads to help it manage and store renewable energy generation and help decarbonize its transportation network. Chinese manufacturer's Xpeng spin-off company, Xpeng Hi-Tech, has unveiled a flying car at the World New Energy Vehicle Context. Called the Voyager X2, this is the 5th generation concept and should be capable of carrying 2 passengers. Sticking with Xpeng, the company has revealed pricing for its newest electric car, the P5. Destined for Europe, it hits the $25,000 equivalent price tag that so many automakers, including Tesla, have been chasing. ChargeNet Kenya, a zero-emission subsidiary of the Maylene Corporation, is rolling out EV charging stations in Nairobi. It says it will offer 2.5 months of free charging to help encourage Kenyans to make the switch to EVs. Consumer Reports has passed its verdict on the Tesla Model S steering yoke after buying a new Tesla Model S for testing. It states it believes that the yoke shows little benefit to the driver, but poses potential safety concerns. That said, I'm sure plenty will disagree. Zero Motorcycles has launched its updated 2022 model year range of bikes, with modest tweaks in specs and a new 5-inch optically bonded full-colour TFT display running the latest Cypher 2 operating system. There is nothing more iconic on the roads of London than the black taxicab and the bright red double-decker, but London Mayor Sadiq Khan has just announced that all new buses ordered by Transport for London will be zero-emission, putting an end to years of smelly diesel engines. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. The Ford Mustang Mach E, a car that's now been on sale for more than a year, has received plenty of praise for its ability on the road, its interior trim, and its exterior design. But one thing that hasn't been praised all that much is its charging curve, which has to this date ramped down DC charging speed quite dramatically after the first 10% of charging, meaning that while it technically can charge at over 150 kilowatts or more, it doesn't do that for long. But according to Ford's general manager for EVs, Darren Palmer, Ford is readying an over-the-air software update to change the charge characteristics of the Mach E, meaning the car will be able to charge at a higher power level for longer. Talking to Inside EVs, he even hinted there's talk of allowing even faster charging on customers' cars who don't rapid charge all that often. And finally, there are few aviation enthusiasts who don't know the name Rolls-Royce and the important part it's played in the last 100 years of air travel. But aside from producing engines for some of the world's largest airplane manufacturers, Rolls-Royce has been busy getting itself ready for the new age of zero-emission flight, and it's just announced the maiden flight of its all-electric single-engine test plane, the Spirit of Innovation. Built to test electric engines and battery packs, the 400-kilowatt electric plane features the most power-dense battery pack ever built for an electric airplane. It took off from the Ministry of Defence's Boscombe Down airfield earlier this week. The successful test flight lasted 15 minutes, and Rolls-Royce says it's eager to continue testing. And on that note, we are done for the day. But before I go, I would like to thank the Electric Auto Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EAA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric, it can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a brand new clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EAA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the bells, and doing the same to our 2 other channels as well. That's Transport Evolved Take 2 and Transport Evolved Shorts. We'd also love it if you'd support us through Patreon or Ko-fi if you're so inclined. And don't forget that you can buy your own TE swag, just like the shirt I'm wearing, at our Redbubble store. The link is below. And if you're feeling chatty, do drop by our free-to-join Discord chat room. I or someone else from the team will be back soon with more video goodness, but until then, thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!